always anticipated and had the fear that this budget would introduce some hardship. But unfortunately, I never anticipated that the magnitude of the hardships that this budget will introduce will be so high. Ladies and gentlemen, our finance minister has just presented the budget statement and the financial statement policy of the Kufuor-Bawumia government for the year 2022. Pending the debate on the details of the budget in Parliament, and obviously the full analysis of the final economic outturn for 2021 in the first quarter of the year, the minority in Parliament wishes to make the following initial comment. Number one, the 2022 budget has been presented at a time when the Ghanaian economy is in deep crisis and is indeed in complete shambles. The key issues affecting the economy in the run-up to the presentation of this budget includes the following. Number one, huge and unsustainable public debt leading to the loss of access to the international financial market, deteriorating credit ratings, and a complete loss of confidence in the Ghanaian economy. Number two, unprecedented budget deficit of 15.6% and primary deficit of 8.8% in the year 2020, which has led to more borrowings. Number three, severe hardships and extreme high cost of living caused by the imposition of a raft of taxes. Number four, rapid depreciation of the Ghanaian currency. Number five, ever-increasing fuel prices and general food inflation. Number seven, massive unemployment. Number eight, large arrears accumulation and non-payment of contractors' owings. And above all, poor quality of government expenditure and the misuse of our scarce resources on ostentation and creature comfort of government officials. Number two, it was obviously imperative for the 2022 budget to respond to some of these critical challenges facing us and to bring the economy back on track. Unfortunately, what has just been presented falls far below what is required, and the crisis within the economy is set to deepen for the following reasons. The first one is indeed the fiscal development and the missed target in the 2022 budget. The 2021 budget indeed set the following macroeconomic targets. The first one was that the overall real GDP growth will be at least 5%. Non-oil real GDP growth would have been 6.7%. End period inflation will be 8%. Fiscal deficit, they had projected 9.5%. They also projected that the primary deficit will be 1.3% of GDP, and the gross international reserves to cover will be up to 4 months of import cover. They also projected tax revenue of 72.5 billion. But even as we await the NDC outturns after the first quarter of next year, there is ample evidence in the provisional outturn presented in the budget for the first 3 quarters of the year to show that many of these targets will be indeed missed. Already, inflation for October 2021 is 11%. This clearly shows that inflation has been derailed, and as we speak, we have lost the target by about 3 percentage points. Also, revenue is underperforming, with a shortfall of 4 billion recorded by the third quarter of this year. Based on this trend, we are most likely to miss the 72.4 billion target set in the 2021 budget. Now, the major issue again that is confronting us is the issue of debt sustainability. In fact, according to the Minister of Finance, Ghana's public debt stood at 341.76 billion Ghana cedis as of September 2021. This is what he just told us. This marks an increase of 221.76 billion over the 120 billion they inherited in the year 2017. With a debt to GDP ratio of 56%. This huge increase is as a result of borrowing occasioned by a record of 15.6% deficit and a primary balance of 8.8% in the year 2020. The huge and unsustainable debt overhang has led Ghana to lose access to the international financial market due to total loss of confidence in our ability to meet further debt service obligation. Again, we had expected that the 2022 budget will show clear signs of how government intends to reduce the public debt and regain the confidence of the investors. Unfortunately, the budget presented by the finance minister does not offer much hope that this one is going to happen. In view of the above, we project that the public debt will hit 355 billion Ghana cedis by the end of December 2021, representing 82% of GDP, which is the highest since EPIC. Again, the budget indicated that the situation will worsen in the year 2022, as the public debt will reach 426 billion at the end of the year 2022, representing 85% of GDP. Based on the trend, we in the minority concur with Fitch recent projections that the general government debt to GDP is going to rise up to 90% by the year 2023. Honorable members and colleagues from the media, let me also say that one major item of concern to most Ghanaians has to do with the hardships and high cost of living. Ghanaians are currently going through unbearable hardships, pains and suffering due to the mismanagement of this economy. The hardship stems directly from rising cost of living, constant increases in prices of basic items, fuel price increases and excessive taxation. By way of a reminder, the following taxes and levies have been imposed by the Bawumia-led economic management team since the year 2017 to the year 2021. A clear promise to reduce taxation during the 2016 election campaign has indeed failed. But let me start by calling out some of these taxes that they have actually imposed on the ordinary Ghanaian. Number one, we recall that they increased VAT by 5%. This happened when they decoupled the national health insurance and the get fund levies. They also introduced what we call the luxury tax levy. They introduced a 3% VAT flat rate. They introduced sanitation tax. Apart from that, they also introduced 5% national fiscal stabilization levy, which should have expired in December 2017, but was extended indefinitely, making it a new tax. Moreover, we saw this government introducing 2% component of special import levy, which was extended beyond the year 2017 sunset clause. They increased the energy sector levies by 30% and extended it for another 15 years. Again, they increased communication service tax by 50%. They did not stop there. They imposed what we call the financial sector levy of 5% on all banks. They introduced what we call the price stabilization and recovery levy on fuels by 40%. And again, they actually increased the UPPF levy by 167%, also from 2017 to the year 2016, to the year 2021. Colleagues, let me say that makes it 14. But that was not the end. This government introduced the boss margin and increased it by 3 pesos to 9 pesos, representing 200% increase. And then number 15, the fuel marking levy has also been increased by another 233%. Together with other non-tax revenue sources, the government has received an amount of 249.3 billion Ghana cedis in tax revenue alone from January 2017 to September 2021, added to 221 billion in debt additions, in debt that they have borrowed. Let me say that this government has over 461 billion at its disposal. But unfortunately, these resources has been squandered on misguided consumption expenditure, especially in the 2020 election year, creating a huge hole in our finances. In a desperate bid to plug this hole, it is sad to know that the Bawumia-led economic management team has sought to impose more suffering and pain on the ordinary Ghanaian by punishing them with additional devastating taxes and other fiscal measures in the budget. This has aimed at raising additional tax of 15 billion Ghana cedis. In fact, it will surprise you to note that from the evidence presented to us in the budget statement, this government is increasing tax revenue by 25 billion Ghana cedis in one single year. Among others, this government has done a catastrophic reversal of the populist benchmark values discount despite loud protestations from the sector players, importers and other Ghanaian public. The reversal of the benchmark values discount will immediately result in 25 to 30% increase in the prices of essential imported commodities, which will make life almost impossible to live for millions of Ghanaian households. This Christmas, ladies and gentlemen, will go down as the most bitter and painful for Ghanaians as they will struggle to put food on the table for their families due to the draconian fiscal and tax policies that has been introduced by the Akufo-Addo-Bawumia government. Let me say that all these justifications by the Vice President the justifications given to us by the Vice President that the discount is going to increase the port volumes has proven to be a propaganda and cheap politicking. He has completely failed Ghanaians with his misleading claim on the economy. It is with this note that at this point I will announce some of the tax measures that we have seen in the budget. As it was not enough, the following taxes has been imposed on Ghanaians in the year 2022. First, we are hearing that they are going to introduce the electronic transaction levy, affecting mobile money taxes, mobile money transactions, and bank transfers, and an inflows in remittance. So simple put, what this government seeks to do is that from January 2021, January 2022, every single remittance from anybody living abroad to your mother, to your father, and for the purposes of your investment is going to attract taxes from this administration. We think this is not acceptable and we will advise ourselves when the time comes. Again, we are seeing that they are going to introduce a special tax on mobile money. We have served notice through our minority leader that the minority caucus of Ghana's parliament will stand by Ghanaian, the ordinary Ghanaian, in opposing this Momo tax. Let me also say that we have seen a 15% increase in all government fees and charges, and we think that that is a bit too much and the government may need to think about it. These new tax measures will bring great suffering to Ghanaians who have already been choked with taxes. The electronic transaction levy will not only increase the hardships, but will significantly compromise inward remittance, which is relied upon heavily by many Ghanaian households. We wish to assure the people of Ghana that we will vigorously oppose the killer taxes and will ensure that any one of them that will adversely affect the lifestyle of Ghanaians will be rejected. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, let me talk about the depreciating Ghana cedi and the rising unemployment. First, depreciating Ghana cedis. After what has proven to be the empty assurance by our Vice President that the cedi has been arrested and the keys has been given to the IGP for safekeeping, it is unfortunate that today Ghana cedi has recorded massive depreciation to the extent that the cedi is trading at 6 cedis 35 pesos from the 3 cedis 90 pesos that they inherited in the year 2017. We have also seen that the pound sterling has also depreciated to 8 cedis 46 pesos. And then we've seen the euro depreciating to 7 cedis 28 pesos. On the issue of unemployment, which is a major issue confronting millions of Ghanaians, especially the youth in this country. It is sad to note that this government has not presented to us any major measure in the budget that would deal with the youth unemployment situation. All what we have seen in the budget statement indeed is empty sloganeering, to the extent that they are not telling us exactly what they are trying to do. So we, the members of the minority, wish to state that going forward, we are going to ensure that this budget indeed provide some hope to the Ghanaian youth in terms of job creation. To conclude, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say that we have seen huge arrest accumulation. Unfortunately, what is in the budget alone talks about the fact that they are going to pay only 1.9 billion Ghana cedis in tax in arrest. We are aware that government owes arrest of about 30 billion Ghana cedis. 30 billion Ghana cedis. Yet they had only apportioned 1.9 billion Ghana cedis in the budget for the purposes of arrest payments. We have also seen that there is a huge wastage in public resources. The office of the president alone, the office of government machinery, we have seen an amount allocated to the office of the president representing 3 billion Ghana cedis as expenditure to be spent at the office of the president. Let us serve this no warning that we in the minority insist that going forward we will demand breakdown of this expenditure. We are also serving notice that until the minister responsible for national security appears before us to answer the question relating to the president's travel with private jet, the office of the president's budget will not be approved by us. And then to conclude, ladies and gentlemen, let me do this summation. We in the minority had hoped that the terrible state of the economy will compel this government to propose policies in the budget that addresses the most pressing concerns of unsustainable debt, hardships, high cost of living, fiscal indiscipline, unemployment, arrest clearance, and misuse of public resources. To our surprise, and the people of Ghana's surprise, the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government has failed to show that they have no solution. They have solutions to these problems in this budget. This budget is not responsive to the most important issues affecting the people of Ghana. The people of Ghana have been left entirely to their fate and have to brace themselves for even more severe hardships this Christmas, going into this Christmas and the new year. Unemployment is expected to rise. Our debt to GDP is also expected to rise. The debt levels are also expected to rise, and we expect that the investor confidence will continue to be eroded. In these circumstances, it is obvious that the review budget will be required to correct the serious imbalances and distortions that this budget will create. Again, by every indications, this budget will worsen the plight of the ordinary Ghanaian and drive them into hardships, suffering, pains, and poverty. We call on our Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, to walk his lofty talk in opposition and clean up the mess he has created in the Ghanaian economy, to ensure that an immediate end is brought to the hardships and suffering of our people. We must admit that these policies has failed, and his policies has failed, and the Ghanaian economy is in deep crisis. We in the NDC will ensure that we do what is required of us by ensuring that every single policy in this budget is actually investigated for us to be able to see its impact on the ordinary Ghanaian before we will consider approving the budget or not.